when I went on Rogan, he wanted to be hypnotized.
So I got Vinny Shoreman with me here, and hi, Vinny. Welcome to my
Hello.
YouTube channel. I first got exposed to Vinny on the Joe Rogan Experience, and I've been a huge fan of Joe Rogan and of NLP and hypnosis. I've been waiting for so long for somebody to come on the show and talk about NLP and hypnosis because Joe is such a performance junkie. And so when I saw you, and I think it was Liam, I think,
Yeah.
on the show, I got really excited. And you were talking about the different things that you do for fighters, because obviously I think, and this is where I kind of want to go with you on this topic today. And what I'd really like to learn from you is how you work with the fighter mindset and what the kind of the everyday person can learn and take from that. So first of all, thank you for being here.
No problem.
How did you get into NLP hypnosis? How did you get into all that in the first place?
First of all, to go back a bit, I've been on Joe Rogan 4 times. So there's two editions with just me,
Yeah.
and then the next two are with Liam. So yeah, that because so there's 4 editions actually. So it was a while ago when I went on the first one. Joe's a great guy. I've got nothing but love and respect for Joe. I came to NLP through adversity, really. I had a relationship that was turbulent, to say the least, and I was using various other recreational things to keep me happy.
Yeah.
Not weed so much, but basically it was other dancing powders, etc.
Mm,
And I was drinking too much. I was being a different person than I should be,
mm.
and I was going off the rails until I went to a seminar by a very a talented man called Keith Mayer, who now works for Liverpool Football Club. He was a NLP master practitioner
Mhm.
and also a hypnotherapist. And I went to a seminar and I enjoyed it, loved it, and felt good and didn't know why. That's because a lot of NLP language is covert, etc., as you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I loved it, and it picked me up, and to say that it helped me. I've always been good at talking. Now I'm a commentator anyway. I used to teach Thai boxing and Muay Thai that Liam's involved with, so that's how the fighting aspect came around.
Right.
And yeah, I just got involved through that. To be honest, it saved my life. Really, I wasn't a user where I had a problem with it,
Sure.
but for me, it was a problem. So
Yeah.
if anyone, it wasn't a massive amount of, like, I wasn't doing Scarface, um, but I was being someone that I didn't want to be, and
Yeah.
it set me on the journey to the person that I am now, and the journey that I'm on to improve as a human being, as a man, as a fellow part of the human race. So yeah, it was that got me into it.
Awesome. So it's very similar to my story. My dad actually first introduced me to NLP accidentally. And then later on, I had my personal crisis and I started going through dad's old books. Um, so you get your master practitioner and do you start then working with fighters? Are you using it on yourself?
No, no, I started working with fighters at practitioner level.
Okay.
Don't forget, I was a coach because I've trained world champions in Thai boxing anyway.
Oh, wow.
So I understood the mindset of seeing talented people be
Hmm.
really good, and then when it comes to fighting, etc., or competing, they become somebody else. The mask that we wear, as Carl Gustav Jung talks about, and
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, so I was a coach anyway, so I had an insight as to how to motivate people, etc.
Hmm.
In that, so yeah, and then that I started working from practitioner level, yeah.
So you said something there. You said you've been working with these fighters and then they become somebody else. What do you mean by that?
Well, it's a portrayal, isn't it? So, they portray, this tough exterior,
Yes.
when they've got gloves on and they're kicking pads and they're doing this and this,
Yeah.
hitting bags, etc., sparring, conditioning work, and then when the bell rings, the reality sets in, and they become somebody else. Some people become what they show in the gym. Other people become somebody that's not really the same person, i.e., they crumble. And it's not for everyone. That's the thing, my friend. It's not for everybody. Combat's not for everyone, and and we're not all cut out to do it. Except it seems to be, especially with younger men,
Yeah.
mainly men, that they want to sort of the portrayal of this archetype that they believe will you know sort of like, I don't know, get the girl, slay the dragon, get the adulation from the crowd, etc., and
Yeah.
become the knight in shining armor and all this adulation. And it takes a very special person to be able to go through the arduousness of what you have to go to get there.
Yeah.
I would never force it on anyone. More people aren't going to make it than are, and that sounds
I
very
didn't.
negative. Well,
I
sounds negative, but it's not. It wasn't for me.
Yeah.
But it's not negative. It's honesty. We can improve ourselves, but there's certain bridges we won't cross, and I understand that. I
I,
understand that totally. And some people will, some people won't.
I thought that if I learned to fight, I would get over my anxiety. And this
Yeah,
was my, I thought if I could kick somebody's butt, that meant I wouldn't be afraid anymore.
yeah,
And so then I just learned, then I was just, a scared ninja, like walking around,
yeah.
which
Yeah,
is,
it's. I understand that totally. I understand that. You know what? For me,
yeah,
I lived that life for years. I was always physically capable
yeah,
of doing the sport. I was it's in my DNA. My father was a boxer. My granddad was a boxer, etc.
yeah.
But I mean, I never really liked hurting anyone. I mean, I won a fight in the first round and felt bad. So it's not really for me, then, is it? I was never like that. But I think as certainly as men,
Yeah.
we portray that because we think that it keeps us safe. We're designed to as children.
Yes.
So, well, I certainly was in the 70s when I was brought up that tough men, these comic book heroes, etc.
Yep.
That were more were what we aspire to be.
Mm.
The tough kid at school, never got bullied and stuff like that, and you made more popular, etc. And of course, it's a fallacy. However, you can't really help that. That's the way you're directed.
So what do you, obviously, you're dealing with guys who have to deal with a tremendous amount of fear. Um,
Mhm.
how do we, I'm assuming that it probably is useful to be afraid if you're stepping into a ring to fight somebody. How do you help fighters navigate the tremendous amount of fear or pressure that they deal with, both in the ring and then as they're leading up to the fight?
Well, it's your internal dialogue. Just to add, I don't just work with fighters. I think
Okay.
that's one thing that people have to understand. I work with everybody.
Okay.
I work more now with CEOs and people that are deemed like famous in the world. I work more with those. With
Okay.
fighters, but going back to your question, it's internal dialogue. It's if you're not on your own side, how do you expect anybody else to be? So if your internal dialogue is critical criticism, then you're not going to perform your best. It's how you speak to you, regardless of what you do. You can do hypnosis and and all this sort of stuff. But what it does boil down to is the efforts that you put in for yourself. It's always going to be that way. It's never going to be any different.
Mm.
Um, we live in a microwave world where people went, "Oh, if I get hypnotized and bing, that'll be it." Well,
Right.
and I know that hypnosis works for some things, but not everything.
Mm.
But I like clients to get to their own answers. I think the best thing you can ever hear from a client is, I never thought of it like that.
Mm.
And I think that one sentence opens such a great door for you and for the client, because then they realize that one might be be scared of losing, one might be scared of being embarrassed, one might be scared of not performing. There's such a myriad belief systems, and that's why the job, as you know and I know, is very, very interesting. It's never there's no one person's the same,
Yeah.
regardless of what we think. It's no one's the same. No one thinks the same, and that's why it's an eclectic mix of interests. However, though, with fear, is I always think it's the internal dialogue that you're giving yourself that will denote where you go. Fear will always exist. It's got to, because otherwise you're not scared of anything. You'll get, I'll go and stroke a, I don't know, a cobra or whatever. Not the best idea in the world. However, it exists for a purpose. But with fighters and with people that do competition or whatever they have to do, it's always, for me, I've noticed, not always, but mostly, it's internal dialogue.
Okay, got it. So if I'm a fighter and I have internal or if I'm a CEO even, because I know for CEOs that the internal critic can be really harsh as well. So what is something that they could do maybe at home listening to before they kind of before they find your contact info? What could they do right now in order to kind of help with the internal? I just went to where mine is located. So what's something they can do with their internal critic?
Download Weaponized.
Yes.
What we've just released.
Yes.
As you know, there is a track on there called Silence the Critic. You've got a question. It's got to find that little gap where instead of, so it's the DJ playing in your mind. There's a song in England. I don't know whether you do this in America, but they certainly do this in England where weddings have a certain playlist.
Yes.
Especially weddings that I go to. I'm 54. Weddings of younger people and older, but mainly obviously they're mainly younger. But they have a wedding list, and for instance, they'll play a song like "The Time Warp" from the Rocky Horror Show, and most people know the dance to it, or the Cha Cha Slide, or there's a few the Birdie song. So crowds of people get up because they all know how to do the dance. I'm just showing you now, aren't I? And it's about taking the needle off the record before it actually starts. So you actually know what your internal dialogue is. So when your internal dialogue's going on, you actually know because you're the one that receives it. So it's about finding that little bit of gap and questioning what you're actually saying to yourself, because the internal dialogue could be from past, could be from your parents, bullies at school, teachers, etc., etc., etc. But it's probably still be your voice anyway. But you've got to interrupt it by taking the needle off the record and questioning it. We don't question it, you see. We end up dancing. As soon as the music starts, up we get doing the Birdie song. I hate this song. I hate doing it. I've always hated it. And sit down and go, oh, guess what? The DJ's playing it again, and off you go again. So it's about you finding the wherewithal and putting the effort in to interrupt the music, basically.
So you said something where we live in a society and people just come and hypnotize me, make my problem go away. Yeah. And I think NLP and hypnosis can do things that appear miraculous oftentimes. But I often get this. It's paradoxical because it almost takes that attitude takes the power away from the client. And
of course it does.
Yeah. So where do you find that kind of balancing line between making sure the client is at cause with the change, and at the same time there is a bit of magic to it, right? There is a little bit but how when a client comes to you, what type of attitude do you want from the client so that that they're going to be able to get the help in the first place?
Yeah, the get the help is getting it from yourself. I mean, I'm a postman of information. I do never take credit for clients changing. Never have, never will, and to the grave I won't, because I don't think it is anything. It's just we just point you in the right direction. If you're not willing to walk that way, what can we really do? Yeah. But I'm very straight. I'm very, very straight talking. I've got empathy, of course I do, of course I have, but I don't pontificate, It's like, for me, I always tell the client that, it's so different with everybody, but I do put them at cause every single time. It's not
Yeah.
down to me. It's
Yeah.
not down to me. I haven't got the problem. It's down to you. It's down to. It's like I've had clients come, and I'm sure you've had this, where they've come to me and they sort of are proud of. Oh yeah, I had a therapist and I told him my story, and they started crying. You could tell me anything about what's going on in your world and how sad it is, and I would not shed a tear. Not because I don't care. Well, I'm useless if I do that.
Right.
It's like being a fireman, isn't it? And then running in there in the fire and they're shouting fire at the window, and you running in with them, standing next to them and screaming, "You're right, there is a fire. How does that work?" You know?
Right. Right.
We pull them out of the problem. We don't get in the problem with them.
Yeah.
So it's all about you saying, look, you're actually in control. And I think there's more power than that. I think there's so much more power in, oh, look at me, I've done this swish pattern, or I've done a parts integration, or I've done a snap induction, and oh, look at me. You
Yeah.
know, no, I've never, I have done snap inductions at the end of seminars because people like them and it's flashy and they enjoy it.
Yes.
But for me, you know, these where they go, oh, sleep, you forgot your name and all that stuff. What use is that? I mean, yes, it's people go, oh, that's amazing. But in my world, in the world that I live in, I want people to have better lives.
Amen.
Forgetting your name doesn't improve anybody's life, does it?
No,
You
not
know,
at all.
or you know what I mean? I mean, look, it's flashy and I can do it. I've seen it done and it's well done. But for me, I think for me, the things that we do have to be to be conducive with where they want to go, and you join the journey with them, but you know you can't walk it for them.
For sure. What do you think? So you've been with many world champions. You've been coaching for a while. You've been in
Mm,
martial arts, so you understand the world of performance. What do you
yeah.
think NLP and hypnosis can do in the world of performance itself? What can we really do with the mind that you've seen in that domain? Anything from
Uh,
accelerated learning, pain control, all like how is this? And then also, if you think any of the claims in our field have been exaggerated, I'd love to hear that too.
I think a lot of NLP is seems to me like cliche. You know, a lot of people say for what purpose and right. You know, for once you learn language, I think if once you immerse yourself in it, I think it becomes part of your own language system. And I still like learning. You know, obviously you know things I don't know, and I'd love to learn more because I'm a very nosy person. What it can do is, well, I've been all over the world with it. I've been all over the world with hypnosis. I've hypnotized, as you mentioned, Joe Rogan and multiple world champions, etc. My works also it hasn't. So I'm not going to lay claim to it works and you win every time. I'll tell you what it does do. I
Mm,
guarantee that you'll feel better about what you're doing.
mm-hmm,
That's the only guarantee I can give you.
mm-hmm.
But like some things in NLP work, and but I think it's an individualized thing. I think sometimes if you believe that it works, it's going to work. It's just it's
100%.
what you like doing. It's like this, you know. I don't particularly like anchoring on hands.
Mm-hmm.
Don't particularly like it. Doesn't mean to say it doesn't work. I just don't like it. But I'm a very I was going to say a very kinesthetic. I am, but but not in that sense. More verbally kinesthetic, you know.
Okay.
Um,
How
but
do you
like I
like
said,
to how do you like to set your anchors? I saw it with Liam. You had him squeeze his gloves.
with with the gloves, and we push them together.
Yep.
We push them together, and also the learning state. You create a hakalau, so you push the gloves together. You basically they just it's that moment you're just getting on your own side. It's just
Yeah.
focusing. It's just putting your focus on that to do that.
Yeah.
You know. Um, And yeah, it works. It works very well, but it's not a guarantee. And I would never say I can guarantee that. You know, I can make you thin. I can make you rich. I can make you egotistical in
Again,
terms of
not a
hypnosis.
cause.
Well, I can.
Right.
It's not about the client, is it? It's about you. So, oh, well done. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
But I mean, not to say those people, their things don't work. Of course they do. However, it's just not my bag.
I got you.
But for me, I think that there's a story. A guy messaged me And he said, "Oh, I'm a big fan of your work, blah, 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 blah," which I'm very grateful for. And then he said, "I'd like to work with you. I'd like to come and train with you, etc." Because I was doing some hypnosis training for people.
Mhm.
And then he said, and then I looked on his Instagram and he put the world's greatest hypnotist. No, number one hypnotist. I thought, well,
I might know this guy.
well, I don't believe I am.
Right.
So why are you saying you are? Because
Yeah.
if you want to train with me, I don't believe I am. So surely you're, but I just don't like that idea.
Yeah.
I think with us being the way in the world that we're in, I think we should be able to help people. Firstly, I
Yeah.
think that's the main thing, is to help people.
Yeah.
Secondly is to make money. I think if you the thing that the idea is that if you genuine and they know that you're genuine, you genuinely want to help, I think you'll never suffer from not getting clients. I think that's the truth
I
for
agree.
me.
I've also noticed, and tell me if we have to pause. Let me know because
No, no,
you at the
I'm
time.
okay. I'm good.
Um,
I'm good.
how you seem very playful in a lot of the stuff that you do. So I've seen
Yeah.
videos of you sparring in the gym, and you're just keeping it light the whole time.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
well, is that just your personality, or is that also intentional? What's the role of playfulness, and how does it improve performance other than just making
Um,
it fun time?
because I'm 54, and if I try and spar hard, I'll get hurt.
Okay, fair enough.
Or it'll hurt them. No, I don't. I don't spar very often. I mean, yeah, I think you're talking about when I was at Phuket Muay Thai, and I kissed the Thai at the end. His name's Joe, lovely kid.
Right.
But I just, I believe it's in Thai. It's called Sanuk Sanan, Sanuk Sanan Mak, which means fun and games.
Yeah.
Because Muay Thai is so hard that if you try and spar hard, you will get hurt. Don't get me wrong. Some top level gyms they do that. It's not necessary.
Right.
I also am quite jovial in my approach to therapy, yeah, because
Yeah.
I think that logical levels of therapy is probably one of the most amazing things anyone can have. When someone comes in, "Oh, this is really bad," and I go, "Oh, good, good," and they go, immediately breaks the state. "Oh, good, I love this," and they're like, because then it doesn't seem to have hold of them so much.
Yeah.
You can go like, "Well, get off." You know
Right.
what I mean? It's just in my opinion, it's just in the way I do it. I'm very sort of, I'm almost like, it's almost like I'm a strange man anyway, I have to admit. But it's a bit like Willy Wonka, you know.
Yeah.
You know Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, or Sherlock Holmes,
Yeah.
or Columbo when he acts a bit. So how does that work? Yeah, you act a bit silly.
Hmm. Hmm.
Don't get me wrong, I don't make fun of people's problems unless I've got the rapport that I need.
Yeah.
But
Totally.
this is my personality. I've always been the same. But I think it drops the guards of people, especially when they come in and they say things about stuff. And I've always got a metaphor. I don't know why. I've always got a metaphor. It just comes to me. I don't know where it comes from, but my unconscious mind is a crazy place. But it looks after me very well, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, I noticed that right away with the wedding metaphor and the wedding DJ.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh, I like this. I might borrow that if you don't mind.
You can absolutely anytime, anything you want, you can have. No problem.
So I've been noticing now when I go in and train, the soreness is out of control. What is your favorite like go-to recovery? How do you stay in the gym, man? Because I mean I'll go work out and my body seems to forget that I'm not competing. And
Yeah.
as soon as the music starts and the bag is there and there's people around, it's like, wow, I have to like go as hard as I can.
Yeah.
And then I can't walk the next day.
Okay.
So how do you train and stay able to go to the gym? Do you have like Epsom salt? Are you doing ice baths? What's your thing?
It's desire, and you just language the fact that you're going to feel that way. You should know this.
I
You
know.
know this. You're already setting it. People don't understand. People really need to understand that the unconscious mind is always like this.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the nosiest thing that ever exists. So when you're giving your unconscious this, it's like holiday. So I had a client before, right?
Mhm.
And he said to me, "I've got really bad anxiety." I said, "Really?" He said, "Why? You're on holiday?" He
Mm.
said, "Oh, 'cause I can't sleep at night."
Mm.
And I went, "Gig, what, can't sleep? Why?" And he said, "Oh, because they're talking next door." I was like, "Right." And they said the German, because he's from England, and he's in a cos in Greece, next door. So obviously, he said, "I can't sleep," and they're talking on the balcony. I said, "What do you do in the daytime?" He said, "Oh, I'm just relaxing and a little bit of going in the swimming pool and stuff. So having a few drinks." I said, "Okay. What do you do normally?"
Mm.
Well, I normally do 15,000 steps and I train at 6 o'clock in the morning. And then, so you expect your body, because you're on holiday, to go, "Oh, we're on holiday now, do a completely different thing,
Mm.
completely. And you just relax now and go to sleep at 7 o'clock at night and wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go for your 2 hour walk and have a nice bath and meditate and journal, right? Good luck with that. And a gallon of water and 500 burpees." But what we do is we set ourselves this routine. So sometimes when we're saying that, so your answer to your question is, for
Yeah.
me, it's desire.
Mm.
Like, on again, I'm going back to weaponize, and it sounds like a big selling point, but it's actually true. You have no choice.
Yeah.
I don't give myself choice, my friend. I have no choice. This week I've had COVID, so I've not been able to train
Mm.
since I come back from Thailand. However, tomorrow is tomorrow, and I've got no choice. So I treat it that way.
Okay.
Also, try and get 1% better. So
Mm.
what I do is I set we set our intention of what we want to do to get where we want to get.
Yeah.
Soreness is part of it, right? And
Yeah.
my arms, it's all right. Oh, I got in the sea the other day and I got wet. That's strange. You know what I mean? So it's about us putting our intention and saying, "I'm going to get so right."
Okay.
No one really cares. It sounds awful, but right, my legs are sore. Right, good.
Well,
Okay.
I'm so glad I asked you, and I'm glad I'm talking to somebody who could hear it right in me.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I've caught myself saying it before, and then I was like, well, how much of this is a self-fulfilling do you know, do you ever get one of my trainers, one of his favorite metaphor stories, and it's a real study, is Ellen Langer's counterclockwise. Do you ever hear of those?
What do you mean?
So it's an old study. It's too long to go into, but they took 80-year-old men to this place, this high school, and they decorated everything in the high school from the years that those men were teenagers.
Yes,
You've
yes,
heard of
yes,
them.
yeah. I have heard of it before. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and they de-age over the course of a week.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there is definitely something that we're doing to ourselves with expectation. And
100%. I don't believe I can't get better.
yeah,
I don't. Not one bit of me doesn't believe I can't get better. So people have messaged me before, they've seen me on boxing pads and they slip and slide and all that sort of stuff, because I think it's fun.
it is fun.
I'm not trying to fight anyone.
Yes.
It's dancing. I'm expressing my enjoyment. So when I do that, and I have a fantastic padman called Carl, from Power Boxing Liverpool, great guy,
Yeah.
brilliant padman. And when you're doing that, it's just a dance, a sequence of fun.
Yes.
And I don't believe I can't get better, because once you start believing you can't, you lock the doors into potential.
Yes.
You lock the doors into potential. Do I believe I'm going to be young? No. Do I believe that I'm going to live forever? No. Am I getting chased by the Grim Reaper? We all are
Yeah.
in certain ways. But so, he's probably closer to me than he is to you. However, I'm keeping running. I'm keeping running. And
Fair
as
enough.
long as I can move my body and enjoy it, and
Yes.
just express myself through the medium of flipping and sliding, why should I not?
Fair
Why
enough.
should I?
So, so I heard, I saw Rogan talking to Andrew Huberman, and
Mhm.
they were talking about hypnosis, and Huberman hits him with the, if you roll your eyes up,
Feigl test.
yeah. And so I had always heard that that test was BS, and
Yeah,
that, my take is that anyone can go into trance.
yeah.
Some people might need a little more training than others to do
Mhm.
it, and some people, like I'm a somnambulist, I can just go. Um,
Mhm.
so what's been your experience? Have you found that, that you can't hypnotize some people, or that everybody can go into a trance? What's been your experience of it?
Everyone that wants to go into hypnosis will.
Yeah.
Everyone who wants to go into trance will,
Yeah.
because that's what they pay you for. So they're
Yeah.
already in trance when they come in because they want to be. So
Fair
they're
enough.
helping you out anyway. Can you just hypnotize people that don't want to be? What do you think? What's charisma?
What is charisma?
What is charisma? Charisma is exactly the same. What is presence? What is being there's something about someone is because they are exude. Hypnosis is just not about words and a hypnotic stare. It's about presence,
Interesting.
which I believe, and yeah, people have this sort of way of being about. They have this natural charisma, this natural flair, and I believe that's hypnosis. The Spiegel test, Andrew Huberman, it says that, right? Okay, good. This is the study, but I don't know whether he's right or whether he's wrong, and it makes no difference to me. What's the idea is, you see, storytelling. A brilliant storyteller is John Ballin, Mr. Ballin, and I love his content, and he tells stories, and for some reason you're engaged in this way of being, and I think that's hypnotic. It's so everyone can be hypnotized, but they're talking about the sleep thing. Only people that want to get hypnotized. That's how it works.
I love that you said charismatic people, like charisma is a form of trance, because
Yeah.
I've experienced that. You meet a charismatic person and you're so kind of absorbed and locked in, and then you'll watch people kind of adopt that person's mannerisms or start like adopting their ideas and their lingo. And fascinated. They're like gazing at this person like they are in a hypnotic trance. So I've seen when I first started learning hypnosis, what happened was I was kind of stunned because I'm looking around, I'm like, oh my God, trance is everywhere. It's an everyday phenomenon. So I'm really glad you said that. It occurred to me, but I never thought of it that way.
Instagram's trance, isn't it? YouTube, Facebook, it's all trance. It's all trance based. I mean, going out of trance would be weird, probably, because we're always in trance anyway. Well, we can't really. I don't think we can really put our finger on it anyway. It's a focus based thing. You can't really measure it. And to say that the Spiegel test shows that it's more hypnotic than the other, why? Why? I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying, in my opinion, it's a bit. So I don't. Yeah.
So weaponize. Where did the inspiration come for this?
It come from the good Lord above. Mate, might have done. You never know. Edge your bets. Always edge your bets with religion. I believe in everything.
Yeah.
So it came from an idea. I work with Training Tunes anyway, because I commentate on Liam's show, the Hitman Fight League.
Yeah.
Which is a really successful show, and they sponsor the show, and I just said to him, why don't we do some instructional, motivational things to music? And he thought it was a good idea, and then me being me threw it out there, and then all of a sudden I'm in London in a recording studio, really proverbially getting sorry about that, put money where your mouth is. Frightening. Let me tell you, it was frightening. I had to put up or shut up. So what it was, I went to London, and they said to me, have you, now this is a record producer and a real studio in London, posh London, called Camden. And and I'm there, and the guy worked for all these big wigs like Sony and EMI and all these record labels. And he said, right, have you got any notes? And I said, no. And he looked at his friend, who was the sound guy. He looked at him, he side-eyed him as if to say, oh, what have we got here? And Yazoo's from Training Tunes, he was there. But I completely trust myself. When it comes to what I know, I trust myself completely. And I went in and I said, it's okay, right, we'll write these 9 things down. And I said, okay, let's go. And I went in and we had to redo 2. So out of 13, I think, we had to redo. So I was, do you know what? I don't often say this about myself, and I really don't. But I was super proud of myself, super proud, because I totally trusted myself. I had to I had loads of coffee. I was jittery all over the show. And but I trusted myself and I said, you know what, I'm gonna smash its head in. And I did. And I was very proud at the
Well,
moment.
and it came out great. I was actually
Thank you.
I was at coffee working on my laptop when you and I were messaging, and
Uh-huh.
I was putting some of the tracks on while I was going through, and it really does put you in the zone. I mean, it does get you energized and it gets you focused. So
Yeah.
I think it's a wonderful thing to have in your pocket, like on the way to work or while you're
Yeah.
in your office or whatever.
Yeah.
So it came out great, and uh, one thing I want when you're saying I trust myself with stuff that I know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's something that's been a struggle for me is
Okay.
that I probably have more um, knowledge that if I were to trust myself more, I would
Mm-hmm.
be able to tap into that. So selfishly, from a modeling point of view, um, how do you do that? Like, what is it when you're there and it's time to step up? How do you do that? I heard you said I'm gonna smash it. But tell me a little bit more. How do you do that?
Because I know that I know.
You know that you know.
I know that I know. So I can't spend all this time. When I went on Rogan, he wanted to be hypnotized. And I believe me, I was like, I didn't know how big it was. I just went, I got to go on for a good friend of mine called Joe Schilling, who's now doing brilliantly in life. What a guy. Got
Mm,
nothing but love and respect for Joe Schilling. Shout out to him. And he got me on Rogan because he mentioned that he'd won this big fight. And then Joe said, oh, what's a mind coach? Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so when I went in, it was my put up or short. If I didn't trust my training and be able to put Joe into trance, I was done for because the show was live. So there was just me on my own. The show was going to be live.
yeah.
So Joe would have got hypnotized. Now, if imagine I didn't hypnotize him, let's just go on the negative side of it. Obviously, it didn't happen, but I would have been on Joe Rogan's show talking about how a failed hypnotherapist to come all the way from England to try and hypnotize Joe, and it doesn't work.
Right.
But I trusted my training
Mm,
and I believed in what I did. I've seen too many instances. Look, but think of it like this: you've seen too many instances of it working.
mm,
How can you lack belief?
mm,
You've seen it too many times.
mm.
It's like someone that's got a deep religious belief. I never knock anyone's beliefs ever, anyway. But however, they would point out things that you would might go, yeah, but this is that, and they go, but that's how it is. Once you know that's how it is, if you've seen evidence, I've seen the most famous podcaster in the world, like slumped in his chair.
Mm.
So Andy's mentioned me numerous times, which I'm extremely grateful for. Shout out to Joe, big love to him.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, you know, I've seen it too many times. I've seen evidence. You've seen evidence. So you can't argue with your evidence. Facts are facts. So that's what gives me confidence in what I know because I believe in what I do.
So can I reflect it back for you? Can I reflect that back? So
Okay.
modeling perspective, right? I've seen it too many times. So
Mm.
how many times do you have to see or do something before you know you've got it, before you're certain you can do it? So obviously where the question's coming from, I'm sure.
Yeah, of course. Because it's changed my life.
Mm,
If it hasn't changed my life, then if it didn't change my life, then I couldn't believe in it.
mm,
I
mm.
couldn't believe in it. I was heading for excuse me. I was heading for somewhere that was like very, very dangerous,
Yes.
regardless. And I have also just seen changes in people, and people have told me, and I've believed it, and
Mm,
I've seen it. So it's an experiencing. You can't teach experience anyway. Of course you
right.
can't. But it's just like I just know. It's an absolute inward knowing. But I'm always trying to learn more. I love cognitive behavioral therapy as well. I love it. I love it. And a lot of people in NLP world don't like it. It's just reframing. Is it? Okay, good luck with that. There's so much in it, and there's so much power in what you can use with
Mm,
it. It's a fabulous tool as well. But you know, like going back to that, I just genuinely believe. I
Yeah.
do. I
Awesome.
genuinely believe. You know the story with Liam fighting Anawat, and when I said warrior, and he looked at me and he didn't remember looking at me, or have seen like Brendan Loughnane win $1 million, Joe Schilling going on Rogan, doing seminars, working with certain YouTubers now, and CEOs and people saying that you've changed my life, etc. Which I'm extremely grateful for. I've changed their life with them. Yeah, I've seen too much of it for not to believe in what I do.
Yeah, totally.
You know, and some people say to me, "Oh, what do you do with a client?" I don't know. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. When someone comes in, I don't know. I just something happens. Something from somewhere else happens. Like when I did the music for Weaponized, they say we're doing the next one. It'll either be energize or synchronize or harmonize because we're doing it in that basis. And they did say to me that, oh, well, you know, and then we'll work on scripting it. I can't. I can't do it. I can't script it because it's not come from script. Weaponized didn't come from scripts. It comes from idea, and then the idea it just flows. It's the force, isn't it? In Star Wars, it's the force. It's allowing the force to flow. It's allowing you just to go. You know what? I'll just let my mind do what it's meant to do. Once you get in its way, what for? You get in its way. You know, it's a certain. It's just a certain. I don't know. It's a flow. It's a trust.
It's a trusting. Got it.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Awesome.
sir.
Very, very helpful. So where can and well, one more thing, and then any message to coaches, hypnotherapists who are just starting out on their journey?
Yeah, it's not about you. So drop your ego and your rounds of applause for yourself because you've hypnotized someone. Yes, it's magical at first and it looks great and stuff like that. But once you start saying it's about you and thinking that you're changing other people's lives, you couldn't change their lives without them coming to you first. So it's a do with process, not a do to. Always know that it's not a gift and you're not special. It's just something you've chosen to do and it's a job. And you try and help people out. Yeah, I really doing so many egotistical people, especially hypnotherapists. When they walk in and yes, I'm a hypnotherapist and I'm this and they have watches and they like have this mysterious way about them. Really? Really? You know, it's not the Victorian ages, mate. Put your watch away. You know, it's about it's about serving and helping others and getting people basically shining light where there's darkness. And I know it sounds a bit fingers down the throat, a bit sort of cliche, but it's not. It's about you helping people through darkness. I think if you can help people conquer fear, I think that's the biggest thing you could ever do.
Right on.
So,
so where can we download Weaponize? Where can we, if somebody wants to work with you, how do we go about finding out
you
more?
can get me on the Shoreman Solution. If you DM a wonderful lady named Karen at the Shoreman Solution, you can get hold of her and she'll put you in contact with me. Weaponize is on all platforms.
Okay.
In all platforms. I've also got a website with various bits of hypnosis, NLP, hypnotic downloads called the Shoreman Solution. So if people want to download, go to that, they can. But yeah, the Weaponize, very, very excited about it. Thank you for your kind feedback. I really appreciate it. I'm glad I sent it to you. He's on the VIP list. VIP.
It's very fun.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. But it's just like, thank you for having me. I'm blessed. I'm honoured for you to ask me to do it. You know, I know it was a little bit, times are a little bit ski with. However, it's it's fine. But for me, if you're going to go out and do this job, do it with the integrity that you want to help people. That's the main thing. You've got to want to help people. The job isn't easy either. So if you start going on taking people's problems on, maybe it's not for you. Because once a person has put the phone down, I don't think about their problem anymore. Or come out of the office, I don't sit there and go, I wonder what. It doesn't.
I'm 1 day a week at at an inpatient mental health center.
Okay.
I was coming home with symptoms for a while there. So I had to learn how to shield that and like turn it off.
Yeah. 100%. It's not because you don't care. It's because you are useless if you're joining in.
Yeah.
Useless.
Yeah.
Useless.
It was a bit of a superpower. I could pick up on stuff because my filters were so down, but I had to learn how to shields on, shields off kind of thing, you know? So
yeah, you've got to look after yourself. If you're going to do this work, you've got to look after yourself.
amen.
Physically, nutritionally, and everything. It can be a very, very rough ride.
Yes.
But to just try and be Sherlock Holmes. I mean, always try and be Sherlock. Listen to what you listen. Be interested instead of interesting.
Fair enough.
That's the main thing.
Thank you so much, man. I really
Absolutely my pleasure.